Well, you join us here for more Watches and Wonders 2023 because now we're going to talk about Patek Philippe. Patek Philippe's a bit of a big boy, isn't it, Tom? It's usually got something pretty exciting to show us. I'm hoping this year's no different.
Yeah, usually too rich for my purse, but real treats on display nonetheless.
They have been busy. Considering they're a fairly limited manufacturer, there are a lot of models from Patek Philippe, so let's jump straight into them. The first is a rather fetching number in rose gold with brown dial and rubber strap. This is the Aquanaut 5968R, 42.2mm in rose gold with a flyback chronograph from the caliber CH28520C. There's also 120 meters of water resistance. Is this the kind of sporting chronograph you could see yourself wearing, Tom?
Yeah, it's okay. It's quite chunky, isn't it? The protrusion of the pushers and those crown guards add quite a lot of extra diameter there, but it looks very chocolatey, so that pleases me enormously.
Well, how about this for you then, Tom? Let's jump on to the Aquanaut Luce, I think it's pronounced, 5261R. This is a 39.9mm rose gold Aquanaut with an annual calendar complication and packs the caliber 26330 SQA-LU. What do you think of it?
I really love the powder blue coloration of it. It looks quite subtle and elegant. Yeah, it's quite nice.
Well, you've been caught out because this collection is, according to Patek Philippe, for ladies.
I would never have guessed that. Well, how big is it?
39.9mm.
39.9. That's too big for me.
Well, Patek Philippe says the manufacturer is thus enriching its offer of complicated ladies' watches with a non-gem set model. Although I think boys and girls will be welcome to wear this thing. It's a rather handsome watch and probably one of the nicer ones they've released this year. Tom, how about this then to ease your beating heart? This is the Caltatrava 6007G and it comes in not one, not two, but three colours, yellow, red and blue. You can see from the strap and the dial there's a guilloche type of carbon fibre effect going on for the full speedy zoom that I expect these watches are aimed at. 40mm in white gold, caliber 26330 SC. How's about that for you?
Yeah, really cool, very sporty. Quite simple. I like the sort of roulette wheel in a ring on the dial there, and you know how much I love a flash of bright colour, accents on the dial and on the stitching on the strap. Very sporty and racy and popping.
I don't know if it dips just a little bit too close to 50s Americana kitsch for me.
Oh, now you said that, yeah, I can see that. Someone could be wearing this to their favourite diner, couldn't they, to woo their sweetheart?
Ruined. Tom, how about this then? Let's pull it back a little bit with the Caltatrava 5964G, the pilot travel time, now with added chronograph. 42mm of white gold, so it is a big boy, and it comes in a murky green or a little bit more of a slightly popping blue, but still fairly muted. It's got the caliber CH28520C FUS and the biggest pushers I have ever seen. They look like the capstans from the Titanic.
Yeah, it looks like you could unscrew those pushers and keep a water purification tablet in there or something. Good for survivalists. The colour is very strange. You said it's muddy. I don't know if it's the images or what. I'd like to see this in person, but it looks like the colour was applied after the fact. Like they had a black and white watch and then they just did like a colour overlay. It's weird. I'm not sure what it is, but it's kind of interesting.
There's no mention as to whether or not Photoshop was included. We'll have to wait and see the real thing. But from a muted colour to a rather popping one, this is the Caltatrava 5224R, the travel time dual zone. You'll notice the dial there has a 24-hour display, starts at 12 as you'd expect, but goes around to 24 where you'd expect 6 o'clock to be. There is an independently settable GMT hand in the 42mm rose gold case, and the whole thing is powered by the rather lovely micro rotor caliber 31260 PS FUS 24H. Is this the kind of watch you could see yourself wearing on your travels?
Don't think so. I don't think I could tell the time on it. What's going on? So you tell the time as usual, but then there's an extra 24-hour GMT hand. Is that right?
I don't know. It's currently 24 minutes past 18. Who knows?
Yeah, or like 15 past 8. I'm not sure. Good. The movements are real doozy. I love it. Love that. So probably wear it the other way round and to hell with the time.
Speaking of watches that are more about what's going on inside them than the actual time telling, this is the Minute Repeater 5178G with the Grand Fouet enamel in Flinque blue. Not quite sure how you pronounce that. We've seen this watch before, the Minute Repeater, but here the white gold dial is hand engraved and coated in a translucent enamel, which makes for a rather fetching looking hypnotic kind of thing. Do you remember the Demon Headmaster? I think he had one of these.
Yeah, I was just thinking 5178G-012 is not a very evocative name for a watch with such a hypnotic dial. I would have called it the Whirlatron.
I like it. Can't afford it. Let's move on.
Okay.
Speaking of things I can't afford, this is the Grand Complications 5316/50p, and it gets a blue sapphire dial. This has a minute repeater, tourbillon, retrograde, perpetual calendar all packed in it, and now you can see the half of it that's actually doing the most work, which is the dial side because of the see-through dial. The caliber RTO27PSQR is visible through there and surrounded by 40.2mm of platinum. This is quite modern looking with that see-through dial for a Patek Philippe, don't you think?
It's a really interesting aesthetic. At first I thought it was a texture, I couldn't quite make it out. I thought it was some sort of marble-esque dial, but yeah, no, it's the translucency and seeing through all the different parts, and you can see all the other date wheels there. It's, yeah, really interesting. It's got great depth, sort of smoky translucency to it that's very, very appealing.
Dare I say it, Patek Philippe having a slight nibble at Richard Mille's lunch there?
I dare say they would not want to go anywhere near Richard Mille's lunch.
Tom, for the last watch that I wanted to show you this year from Patek Philippe, this is the Grandmaster Chime 6300 with all 20 of its complications. This time in white gold, dressed with 118 emeralds, that's 7.87 carats, and 291 diamonds, that's 20.54 carats. But if that didn't float your boat and you found it a little bit too green, how about the two-tone edition in rose gold and white gold, which kind of makes me think of Bakelite radio sets?
Yeah, right, yeah. It looks like an old Fisher-Price tape recorder I used to have from the 80s. Big brown buttons and, it's probably about as thick as that Fisher-Price tape recorder as well.
And probably about as useful. Well, there you go. We're wrapping up on what is probably the most hideous watch I've ever seen.
You're not wealthy or refined enough to appreciate such obscurities, Andrew, so shut your face.
Well, there you go. How about you, dear viewer and listener? What do you think of Patek Philippe's releases for 2023? Stick with us for more Watches and Wonders. Bye.
Bye-bye.